A look down at Flushing Meadows Corona Park. Somewhere in that maze of 1,300 acres is Meadow Lake, New York City's largest. And the cloud cover is overhead right now, and hopefully the rain will hold off. Right now we're going to focus our attention to the men's draw. Let's take a look at how things shape up right now in the quarterfinals as we get set for our first quarterfinal match. Paul Harhus, as you see, will take on Jimmy Connors in one quarterfinal. Jim Courier will meet Pete Sampras in another. Ivan Lendl will take on Michael Stieck. And coming up in just a couple of moments, Javier Sanchez against Stefan Edberg. Stefan Edberg against Javier Sanchez. Sanchez, the best appearance ever for him in a Grand Slam event against Edberg, who has never won the U.S. Open. Tonight on USA, it'll be Michael Stieck, the number 3 seed, against Ivan Lendl, the number 5 seed. Lendl undefeated against Stieck, 4-0 in his career. Tomorrow on USA during the day, what a matchup this is. Two terrific young Americans, Jim Courier and Pete Sampras. Sampras has defeated Courier twice this year at Cincinnati and at Indianapolis. And then tomorrow night, the real glamour match of the quarterfinals because of James Scott Connors. Jimmy Connors will take on Paul Harhus. That's tomorrow night live on USA as Connors continues to chase another U.S. Open title, which would be his 6th. And what a story it has been here at the Open, the run of Jimmy Connors. Let's get to the scoreboard. Earlier today, Steffi Graf had no trouble with Conchita Martinez. She won in straight sets, 6-1, 6-3. And just a couple of moments ago, Martina Navratilova dropping the first set, battling back to win the next two over Arantxa Sanchez Vicarios, and Navratilova is now in the semifinals. Meanwhile, today in women's doubles action, Mary Jo Fernandez and Zina Garrison went 3, but topped Elna Reinach and Ann Smith. So the number 4 seeds have advanced to the semifinals with a 7-5, 4-6, 6-3 victory. And Pam Shriver, who joined us earlier on the air, she teamed with Natalia Zvereva to knock off Katrina Adams and Manon Bolograf 6-4, 6-3. That was also in the quarterfinals. Right now, let's go upstairs to our announcers for the Stefan Edberg, Javier Sanchez match. Ted Robinson, Barry McKay, and Vitas Gerulaitis. Gentlemen?
All right, Bruce, thank you very much. We have what on paper appears to be all the likelihood of a one-sided match. Stefan Edberg, who's a dominant player in the world of singles tennis and men. Javier Sanchez has never reached these heights before. How well is Edberg playing so far, Barry, in the U.S. Open?
He's playing a lot better than he was about 10 days ago up at the Hamlet when he lost badly to Ivan Lendl. He played exceptionally well against Michael Chang. That was one of the best matches I've seen him play. He was very tight there, played what I would call very controlled tennis. So he is a much improved player from the time this tournament started, Ted.
And so the number 2 seed and the number 2 ranked player in the world takes on Javier Sanchez, the middle of the trio of Sanchez players. Vitas is a man who's had very little singles success, a lot of doubles success. Can any of that translate into a match like this?
Well, he plays a lot like his brother Emilio. They're very quick around the court. They're pretty comfortable up at net, even though they're known as clay court players. You can tell that by his doubles results. But he really has his hands full. As Barry was saying, Edberg played so well against Chang. It's about as well as I'd ever seen him play. And the thing is to keep Edberg off the net. But how do you do that? The guy is relentless. Every time he gets a short ball, he charges into the net. And he showed how versatile he was during that match. He's so athletic. His volleys are so tough.
Now, Edberg's march through the U.S. Open thus far, he was tested by Brian Shelton. Jim Grab gave him some trouble, but then Edberg rose to the occasion, played superb tennis against Michael Chang. And interestingly enough, this will be the first real hard court player that Sanchez has faced in the Open. His road to the quarters has been a little bit easier, and he has not faced a player whose game is as suited for the surface as Edberg.
And I think that's helped him get to where he has in the tournament so far.
I think Edberg also senses a chance. Becker's gone, John McEnroe's gone, obviously Jimmy Connors very much alive, but I think Becker senses that this perhaps could be his first big chance to win the U.S. Open.
And here's Sanchez's round. You see he beat the 9th seed, but again, that seed's a little deceiving. Sergi Bruguera is a clay court player, and Sanchez dispatched of him in straight sets. And so we are set to play in the first men's quarterfinal. Tonight, Lendl and Stieck will take Stadium Court. And Stefan Edberg is trying to return to the semifinals here at the U.S. Open. He has not been there since 1987. And Javier Sanchez to serve.
Wow. Pretty good way to open the match. Service ace right down the center.
If Sanchez has any chance today, he's got to serve well. Keep Edberg away from the net, because once Edberg gets in a groove returning, he'll start chipping and charging on the second serve, so he's got to get a high percentage of first serves in.
And psychologically, too, the first game you serve against a big player like Edberg, he banged in an ace there, hit a good first serve on the second point. And what he's trying to say to Edberg is, hey, don't take me too lightly here. I got a pretty good serve. And I think psychologically, this first game that he serves is very important.
This is the first time Sanchez has ever gotten beyond the second round at the Open. This year he lost in the first round at the Australian, first round at the French, did not play Wimbledon. And here he is in the quarters of the U.S. Open. And Sanchez comes out, easily holds his serve to begin the match.
Hi, honey, I'm home. You know, the house smells so fresh, you'd never know we had pets.
That's because I use Arm & Hammer Pet Fresh. There's one to deodorize carpets, another to deodorize the air. They both freshen naturally with baking soda.
No wonder the whole house smells so fresh.
One Pet Fresh for the carpet,
Another Pet Fresh for the air.
natural freshness.
From the baking soda experts. Honey, I think I'll take the cat for a walk. Ruff.
You must travel back in time 1 billion years to witness its birth. You will search in vain for a more enduring or brilliant creation. You can comb the world and never find one the same. It is rare. It is precious. It is love. And its only promise is forever.
For 70 years, they've given form and substance to an automotive vision. Now, 4 generations of BMW engineers present their life's work. The 12-cylinder 850i. If a car company can have a soul, this is ours.
Stefan Edberg's first service game.
And you know, you've got to think that Javier Sanchez was in there watching that match with his sister against Martina right before this match starts, and everybody's talked about how draining it is to watch, and that might have some effect on him here as this match gets underway.
What's intriguing about Javier Sanchez is that here he is, he's won 15 doubles titles in his career, just 2 singles titles, yet he is playing only singles at the Open, no doubles and no mixed doubles.
Well, he made Edberg work for that point. Javier's a good scrambler. Got to a couple balls there that most players might not have made. Threw up some tough lobs, and now the wind a factor out here on the stadium court. Not easy to hit those overheads.
The wind a factor. It's a heavy overcast, and there is a possibility of rain as the afternoon wears along. Edberg holds, and each player has held his first serve easily. Let's take a look now at how Barry and Vitas dissect the games of these two quarterfinalists.
Well, I think obviously Edberg's got the bigger serve. Return of serve's a toss-up. Ground strokes are both very solid. Edberg much better at the net, although Javier showed us some good volleying so far. And that intangibles is an interesting word. Obviously, Edberg has had a lot more experience, and I think that's what we boil that down to a lot of times, is experience in big situations, and Edberg's got the edge there.
Sanchez put away a volley to win the first point. Now it is 15-all.
He anticipated that ball very well. Saw the Edberg backhand going down the line and just punches the volley cross court.
Javier in that part of the draw where Guy Forget getting knocked out early, and that kind of opened it up. Sanchez with a win over Bruguera in the second round. And from there on in, it was smooth sailing because Guy Forget, who was seeded number 7, disappeared after the second round.
Well, Edberg had a chance there and just hit long.
Tell you, so far Javier has scrambled very well. Not only is he scrambling in the backcourt, he's scrambling up at net. Look at the footwork here. Now he gets back quickly. Tough overhead there. He hit it well behind the service line, and then Edberg overhit.
Now, Pato Alvarez, who coaches all the Sanchez's, has worked a lot with Emilio and with Javier on a serve and volley game. And they feel that's really been a cause of Javier's success here at the Open. A little bit better at the net, a little bit better passing shots.
You know, at one stage a year ago at Wimbledon, all 3 Sanchez's were out on the field courts at the same time. So they were kind of taking care of 3 courts.
Well, both Emilio and Javier move very well around the court, which causes a lot of problems. And listen, once you get to the quarterfinals, I mean, I don't care whether you're a good clay court player or a good cement court player.
There's Emilio.
I mean, you know how to play ball.
With his Met hat on there. It's kind of a good name for baseball. Bring in the right-hander, Emilio Sanchez. Yes.
Javier didn't really penetrate very well with that volley. You can't give a guy like Edberg too many chances. You really got to try to punch that volley away.
Shea Stadium, just across Flushing Meadows Park and across the subway and Long Island Railroad tracks from the National Tennis Center.
It's a lot quicker by blimp.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. New York Mets pitcher Frank Viola was here for the women's matches today, and I'm sure he's about halfway across the boardwalk right now, heading over for a Mets game tonight.
I'll tell you, I'm glad we're staying right here, because when you walk out of this place when those Mets games are on, it gets rather dicey out there. The top of the frame of the racket. It's kind of a sickening feeling, isn't it, Vitas, when you miss hit the ball that badly? Not that you've ever done that, but I think you might have done it a couple of times in your career.
I'm sure I did.
Well, the first break point of the match belongs to Edberg.
Ooh, Sanchez thought he had it. Remember when Edberg burst on the scene over at Wimbledon 1983, beat Patrick McEnroe in the juniors, and Ed Olson, his fiancée.
Oh,
yes.
Sanchez gets down, half volleys it, hits it deep. Edberg drills the backhand down the line. He just anticipated, cupped the ball around the outside of the ball, and angled it cross court.
Now, very nice comeback by Javier Sanchez. Saved a break point and held his serve.
USA's coverage of the 1991 United States Open Tennis Championships is brought to you by Visa Gold. It's everywhere you want to be. And by new Expert Diets, expert nutrition from our vets. Great taste for your pets.
Look at this.
This feeds extremely well.
It took real expertise to create new Expert, a pet food that's scientifically formulated, the kind vets recommend, with no artificial flavors or colors. It took real expertise to make a diet so digestible that pets get more nourishment and produce less waste. But it took real genius to give it great taste. New Expert Diets from Pedigree and Whiskas, expert nutrition from our vets, great taste for your pets.
This is Sylvie Dangler, Canadian Olympic speed skater. Over the years, she skated over 100,000 miles, done over 1 million sit-ups and 2 million leg lifts, almost all of it before most people get out of bed. But if you think she's tough, wait till you see the guys at the ticket window if you don't have your Visa card. Because once again, the Olympics don't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Back at the National Tennis Center, Flushing Meadow Park, site of the 1964 World's Fair, and now the site of Shea Stadium, as well as the National Tennis Center, and hopefully the new National Tennis Center on some bordering acreage here. 15-love Edberg, and let's go find Michael Barkan.
Right here, you said Frank left. He's right here, Ted. He's waiting to go across the tracks to the game with former Cy Young Award. You want to say hi to Ted right off the bat, huh?
Not really.
With former Cy Young Award winner Frank Viola, now pitching for the Mets. And what do you think of the action out here? We've seen a couple of good matches today.
Yeah, really have. Martina and Sanchez really had a good match. You know, it's fun to sit around and watch another sport that you're not really involved with, and to see what these guys do. You got to consider them outstanding athletes because, you know, I've tried tennis and I can't figure it out.
You're also trying baseball really hard right now. I know it's not going real well for you.
I still can't figure it out.
What's been the problem for you?
Well, basically, you know, the team's struggling a little bit, and I'm trying to be too perfect. Instead of just being myself and throwing the ball, I'm trying to make the perfect pitch, and that's when you get hurt. And this last month has been really frustrating for myself personally, but you know, you just got to keep plugging away and everything will work out.
How do you like the chances of your former team, the Twins, and how would you like to be back there now with them in a pennant race?
Boy, they're playing some fantastic baseball. Happy for them, and I'm rooting for them.
Jimmy Connors, your thoughts on his chances to win the whole thing?
What a story that is. 39 years old and playing like he's playing. He's playing like a little kid, and you know, he's won New York, I'll tell you that, and hopefully when he goes out there tomorrow, he'll keep it up.
All right, with the New York guy himself, Frank Viola, back to you, Ted.
All right, Michael, thank you. Edberg serving at 40 love. It was Houston Astros pitcher Mark Portugal was seated there alongside of Frank Viola. We've seen a lot of baseball players here during the U.S. Open. And right now we're on serve. 2-all first set.
Any reason why he didn't want to chat with you, Ted?
We got our chatting in a bit earlier. Now, it's interesting, Barry. Javier Sanchez has come out here and served his first few games fairly well.
I tell you, he is very much in this first set. He's volleyed well, he's scrambled well, and he has not been intimidated by Stefan Edberg.
And he saved 2 break points in his last service game. Is it too early to say that Edberg isn't quite as crisp as he was against Chang?
I think it's a little bit early yet. They're on serve. Oh, almost sounded like a miss hit, didn't it, Vetus?
He looks like he thought it was going out. Right here's a good shot of it. It starts to play up, and I'll tell you, it's very windy out on the court right now. Seemed like the wind caught the ball and dipped it down. He was right there. He could have played it.
And Stefan now having to work a lot harder for these points than he anticipated. I mean, Sanchez is getting a lot of balls back.
And now Edberg has another break point.
I'm impressed with the way Sanchez moves at the net. Very comfortable, and you can tell the good volleyers, they're always there. Even though they miss the volley, they're in the right spot at the right time.
Oh, a miss hit by Sanchez, and that gives Edberg the first break of the match.
Fueled by pride and patriotism, America's top golfers take on Europe's best for the 1991 Ryder Cup on USA, September 27th and 28th.
I watched what I ate, worked out on my Easy Glider, and lost 75 pounds.
This is actual footage of Keith's home video showing his dramatic weight loss. All across America, people have found that 20 minutes every other day works to firm all major muscle groups and helps to lose weight aerobically.
I'm using my arms, my shoulder, my back, my tummy, my thighs, my legs. I get it all.
Dual resistance allows you to adjust tension for both legs and upper body.
I have tried bikes, jogging, even racquetball, and Easy Glider is definitely the best.
And this handsome unit folds down quickly for easy storage.
Call toll-free like I did to shape up and slim down with Easy Glider.
Call toll-free 1-800-972-3700. We'll bill your credit card 3 easy payments of $19.95 each. You get a full 60-day home trial with a money-back guarantee. The total price, $59.85 plus $9 shipping and handling. Call 1-800-972-3700 now.
They started out as hunters.
I ain't seen a game animal in a week. They've been spooked out of this part of the world, that's a fact.
They ended up as prey.
I don't know anything on Earth that has this kind of power and sophistication.
Tony Geary, Chuck Connors, Mark Singer, High Desert Kill. A USA world premiere movie. Sunday night at 7, 6 Central.
Now a shot of the beautiful flowers outside the stadium show you how windy it is today. And there are still some fans milling around from action on the outer courts where both juniors and seniors action is taking place today. And here on Stadium Court, the first of 4 men's quarterfinals. Edberg up a break over Javier Sanchez.
Wind almost held that one up again.
That's quite a record for Stefan during those years.
Yeah, he was #1 for virtually none of that period. Late 90s when he achieved the ranking.
Well, I talked to Tony Pickard about 10 days ago up at the Hamlet, and he said when he arrived and started working out with Stefan about 2 weeks ago. He was really disappointed in the way that Stefan was playing. He didn't seem to be moving as well. There's a look at Tony Pickard. And he said that whole week they really worked very hard. This is about 10 days ago, so it's starting to show up, I think, in Edberg's game.
And also, I think that Chang match was a little bit of a turning point for Edberg in this tournament, Barry. It seemed like everything clicked together in that match. And he really needed one good match under his belt here at the U.S. Open if he was going to feel that he was going to win the tournament.
Vetus, you didn't miss your plane just then, did you?
Fortunately, the airplanes again are taking off away from the tennis center from near neighboring LaGuardia Airport.
That's a beautiful shot.
It really is. Ooh. It sure has been nice not to have those planes flying over here about 100 feet.
And Stefan Edberg has yet to lose a point on his serve. He's held 3 games at love.
We really do have to thank the mayor for that, I believe, because he's been out here almost every day.
And the FAA.
Yes.
We looked at Tony Pickard, and it's amazing that Edberg has, in this era of volatile coaching changes, Edberg and Pickard have been together for, what, close to a decade?
Yeah, about 8 years.
I would think that for a player like Edberg and his personality, he enjoys that consistency and stability.
I think it's very important.
Well, he's a very mellow guy, very relaxed. And, you know, he doesn't like to have too many changes going on.
You know what's interesting, too? Pickard was a real fiery guy, totally different from Stefan Edberg. I mean, he really was a very temperamental type player.
Well, you know, Barry, we all mellow with age, don't we?
Oh, yeah? There's the mayor. Out again.
Wonder which food court. Maybe Barkan brought him that today. What do you think? Edberg up a break in the first set. Sanchez serving at 40-15. And that's ace number 2 for Javier Sanchez. So he holds, but Edberg retains his lead of a break in the first set.
If you order a suit designed around the way you're built, you have to wait about 2 months. If you want a house designed around the way you live, the wait is 2 years. But if what you desire is a car designed around the way you drive, you don't have to wait another day. The 1991 Acura Legend Coupe.
When sports cream? When arms are sore? When legs ache? When muscles hurt? Why Sports Cream? Massaging Sports Cream in brings fast pain relief. No medicine-y smell. No odor. Why Sports Cream? Because it works.
Athlete's Foot. Every year, over 28 million Americans get it. Try NP27. Its doctor-recommended ingredient stops burning and itching fast. NP27. Nothing's a better cure for athlete's foot.
They say clothes make the man.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
They're only half right.
No.
Canoe, men's cologne. It's one fashion that outlives the fad.
Yeah.
Edberg has been dominant on his serve. We're getting into about the windiest moments of the Open to date. Wind is really gusting up.
Stefan's got a pretty high toss. He and Ivan Lendl both have, if anything, a little on the high side with the toss, and the wind will definitely affect that. He needs that ball to be right where he wants it. Oh, great hit.
Look at Edberg's serve, you'd say one of the best in the game, Vitas?
One of the best, and he backs it up so well with the volley. He starts with his weight on the back foot, then he shifts his weight forward, he arches his back, then he launches himself into the court to meet the ball, and his racket is fully extended right at the top of the toss, and he lands on his left foot.
Still hasn't lost a point on his serve in this set. That's 15 in a row. And serving now for 5-3. Whoa, look at that. Bounce off that miss hit. And Edberg can manage only a grin of frustration. And it is now 5-3 Edberg in the first set. Let's go to Michael Barkan.
Hey there, Ted. I'm with Mayor David Dinkins, His Honor, the Honorable Mayor of New York. He's on the phone right now in the middle of a very important telephone call. So this is really not an opportune time to talk to the mayor, Ted. So I'll toss it back to you. We'll come on back.
Now Javier Sanchez at net slams that one away. He hasn't been able to do anything on Edberg's serve, so Sanchez, this is an important game to hold. He can't afford to lose it. A set on a break.
And that is a shot that Edberg has really improved over the last couple of years. The topspin, not really a topspin, a follow-through backhand cross-court. Stays low. Stretched him out on that shot.
Forehand by Edberg. Sanchez just barely gets his racket on. Edberg dives for it, almost touches the net. His weight's so far forward that he couldn't get the lob over his head.
Strong net play by Edberg.
Loves that play. Takes a short ball, comes in, penetrates well into the court, and then finishes it off with a volley.
Down from overhead. And Sanchez at the bottom of your picture. Net's there. Now Stefan Edberg has a set point. Sanchez made the finals of one tournament this year, a tournament I'm sure, Barry, you must have made on your circuits, in the Yugoslav Open in UMAG, or UMAG, back in May.
Never made it there. Was in Dubrovnik once, but not UMAG.
Beat Peter Korda to get to the finals in that event. Oh, and Sanchez misfires, and on a break of serve, Stefan Edberg wins the first set.
It felt right. I just had to trust my instincts. By the
that time I realized there was no turning back. I didn't want to.
The first time I switched pain relievers, it was from aspirin to Tylenol. Then recently, I switched again, from Tylenol acetaminophen to Advil. You see, I got these really pounding headaches, and I found Tylenol didn't always get rid of all the pain. So I tried Advil and found that for my really tough headaches, 2 Advil worked better than 2 extra-strength Tylenol tablets, better than extra-strength Tylenol caplets, better than Tylenol gel caps. For my tough headaches, Advil just works better. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Back at Stadium Court, let's go down to the USA studio now and Tracy Austin.
Thanks, Ted. I'm here with Martina. Great match. You've been in so many quarterfinal matches in Grand Slam tournaments, but was this one more fulfilling, this big win?
Well, just for the simple reason that I was behind and came back. I won a really, really close match. I won a close one against Manuela, but this one was even closer because I was down a set and down on my serve at, I think, 5-4. I was down 15-30. And you know, then it played another tiebreaker. So it was a battle, and I think I actually tired her out.
What do you think was the change? Is that what changed the momentum around? It seemed like you were struggling in the first set and then just took control.
I didn't quite hit out on my ground strokes as much as I would have liked to, but the wind was so swirly out there. It was very nasty. I mean, you'd hit a ball and you thought you hit a good shot, and all of a sudden the ball sails 3 feet long. And some shots that we hit looked like beginner shots, but the wind was really very swirly and unpredictable. So that didn't help me much, but also she started out really well, was hitting winners. I lost my serve after I hit 1 bad volley, and I lost my serve. She hit like 4 or 5 winners. So I thought, okay, this is going to be a long day, but I just hung in there, kept going for my serves, and kept attacking. And she hit lots of great shots, but finally she stopped hitting a few.
Now, you've had a difficult summer. Is a win like this going to make you stay in the game a lot longer?
I'll tell you, Jimmy's so inspiring. I figure if he can do it at 39, I can do it at 34. It makes me feel young, so I hope he hangs around. And I just saw how unbelievably aggressive he was against Aaron. I said, this is me. That's how I have to play. And even though I didn't hit such great approach shots, I still kept coming in. And this, of course, playing in front of a crowd like that makes you want to stay out there. I mean, before the match, I'm nervous as heck. And I'm thinking, why am I putting myself through this, you know? But that's what you live for at the same time. You hate it and you love it. And then once I've started playing the match, then I forget all about nerves and just think about the match itself. So it's a blast to be out there.
Well done today. Good luck against Steffi in the semis.
All right, thank you.
Back to you, Ted.
All right, Tracy, thank you. And congratulations to Martina Navratilova, who completes the women's semifinal field. Here, Edberg has won the first set. He held his serve to start the second set. And Barry, look who stopped in to see us.
Well, I'm delighted. Pancho Gonzalez, great to have you up here, Pancho.
Thanks, Barry. It's nice to be back and check you out as an announcer after seeing all those years as a tennis player.
Is he better as an announcer, Pancho?
Yes, he is.
Thank you. I knew you'd say that.
I saw so many serves go by with this guy, I'll tell you, I don't want to ever see him again. But speaking of big serves, Pancho, you had the biggest, in my opinion. What about Edberg's serve? Let's talk about that for a second. What do you think?
Well, you know, his biggest problem has been that he tossed the ball too high. And on windy conditions like today, you'd think it would be bother him. But he is tossing the ball a little lower now, and I think he has better control. And he's making more of an important issue of getting into the net quicker because the wind will not allow the ball to be blown away from him.
All right, Punch. Good to have you with us up here.
Thank you.
I want to talk about age, too, in a moment, because everybody's doing a lot of talking about... shot there. Pancho, you played at Wimbledon, as I recall, the longest match in the history of the tournament at age... I know you were at least 39 against Charlie. Weren't you Charlie Passerelle that year?
Yeah, I was 42. 42.
Ooh, 42. How long was the match?
A total of 5 hours and 20 minutes.
Oh, Well, if Jimmy's listening, I know you've been watching closely. That was a tremendous effort that year.
Yeah, and like he says, you know, after the match, you really can't sit down or sit still for a while because the cramps will get you. But memory will bring you back.
Love 40 here. So 3 break points for Edberg. You played so long into your years, Pancho. How did you know when to not play anymore? To stop? Was it no longer fun for you?
Well, yes, it did happen. As a matter of fact, it happened at Wimbledon the following year. We had 2 days of rain before Wimbledon. In those 2 days, I gained 6 pounds, and I told myself this is the time to quit, and I did about 6 months later.
Sanchez from the baseline saves a second break point.
Pancho, Sanchez is hanging right in here. He moves pretty well, don't you think?
Well, he's a flashy player, and he's got a lot of shots. However, he's being overpowered right at the moment. He's got to stay in there and not give up on it. There's an example right there.
And Edberg breaks for 2-love in the second.
Pancho, I want to ask you about return of serve because you played a lot of great players in your day. I saw a guy named Ken Rosewall hit a few serves back, and don't you think he had one of the best returns maybe of all time?
Well, he did for a guy who was a big server because he stood in real close to it, and he wouldn't allow the guy to take advantage of the wide serve. He'd pick it off with a short stroke very quickly. And, you know, us big guys, we don't move that well up inside the court like that, so the little guys take advantage of it. At Edberg here, I think the secret with his serve is not his serve, but it's the fact that he really does move in well for the second shot, and that's what makes him so penetrating.
Pancho, the other night, Connor said if he had 2 guys to play for his life, he would pick John McEnroe and Pancho Gonzalez. Any thoughts about that?
Well, we started off...
Let's hope you don't have the chance, first of all.
Yeah, not anymore. We started off when he was very young, and I remember telling him that at that time that he was young enough to goof around on the tennis court. I was not. So now he's learned that, you know, now that he's older, that you can't afford to goof around as you get older. You go out and do your thing and get it over with.
15-all. Watch Edberg at net.
Nice touch by Stefan Edberg. Classic serve and volley tennis here. Nice, easy motion. Moves in quickly. Couple steps. He's inside the service line. Now watch him move over. Anticipates while the racket face comes back a little bit. Good touch. Ooh, that's a cruncher.
You know, on the subject of Connors and age, Pancho, how much harder did you have to work, or does Connors have to work at this age just to maintain status quo?
Well, Jimmy, with his style of game, has to work a lot harder than I did because I had my serve. It seems as you get older, you really don't lose your serve if you stay in shape. But when you get older, you do lose the kind of game that Jimmy's playing with. So he's staying in there. If anything, I think one of the biggest factors, he seems to be getting a lot more out of the racket that he's using than he may have 5 years ago, and he's more confident with it.
Ooh.
Sanchez moves way around here. Full swing on that high forehand. Well, he gets a lot of weight into that shot for a little guy.
Edberg holds his serve for 3 love in the second.
It's one thing when body heat rises.
Best man, you're on.
But add stress to body heat, and you need dual action Sure.
Sorry.
Sure's dual action formula handles both body heat and stress, so you stay dry and fresh.
Steve and Paula have been in love since the 3rd grade. Here's the things worth waiting for.
There are 2 ways to perspire, but 1 way to be sure.
Excuse me.
You saved my life the other night.
The dinner party.
The coffee. Very successful.
How can you ever thank me?
Well, at least I can return your taster's choice.
Look, I'm busy right now, but perhaps...
Perhaps.
Savor the sophisticated taste of Taster's Choice.
How's the coffee?
Where'd you get it?
Oh, I have it delivered.
Thus far, Stefan Edberg has been in command, winning the first set 6-3, and he's up a break in the second set against 23-year-old Javier Sanchez, ranked 49th in the world. And his best singles result ever in a Grand Slam event.
Pancho, I got to ask you real quickly, in your great career, any one player that you played that stands out that was particularly tough for you?
Well, you know, the players I played, they were all really tough. I think Sedgman, day in and day out, because he was so physical. You know, I always felt that if one man could play the best of 11 sets, Sedgman would have been that man, and that always bothered me the most, because I think there's a factor, like with Jimmy Connors playing his match the other day, he decides to go into the net in the 5th set, which is a great thought, but not only because he had to, the other guy is a little slower in the 5th set as well, so Jimmy's effectiveness at the net was much stronger because the other guy was more tired. See, so you have to realize the other guy's getting tired too. And in Sedgman's case, I would have felt as though he wasn't as tired as me, and he would have had an edge, so I really respected Frank.
Frank Sedgman from Australia. Of course, I saw you play 14 matches in a row against a blonde kid by the name of Lou Ho. Those weren't too bad matches either.
Yeah, but Lou will give you some loose matches, you know. For 3 or 4 days, he may decide he was in Australia when he was in Chicago, and I would win those matches. Sedgman never did give you those loose matches.
It's interesting.
.40-15 for Sanchez. Break down the serves.
Oh, Edberg at 81%.
And 80% on his second serve. And now it is 3-1 to Edberg in the second set.
Ponch, they didn't have a lot of stats when you were playing and all this computer stuff, but I remember one stat, and that was when you were down 30-40 in your career, it was up there pretty good, as I recall.
Well, it was a little bit like you don't hit it quite as flat. You swing a little harder and put a lot more spin to give you more control, and the consistency seemed to be there, and I always just looked up and said thanks.
Pancho, how would you rate Edberg's second serve in the game today? Is it the best in the game today?
You know, Edberg's really got a super great serve, and he knows how to play around it. Right now, he's taking advantage of the high kick and the wind. The two of them are making his serve even more effective, and he knows how to use that, and that's what's impressed me, is he's learning how to take advantage of conditions and work around them.
He just got called for a foot fault, and Tony Pickard told us that he admits that the right foot is the one that foot faults. He brings it forward, throws the ball a little bit forward, and there you saw it move forward. It didn't that time.
His right foot comes forward, and then just before he hits the ball, it touches the ground. It's very close.
Yeah. There we go, another close-up.
The rear foot comes up. There it touches the ground. And sometimes he gets ahead of the line and touches the ground. That's a football.
Very close.
That one was very close.
He's telling me. There is Tony Pickard, the coach of Stefan Edberg. He's been with him for over 8 years. Pancho, what about officiating? You know, when you played, the overrule was not in effect. What do you think about today's officiating and the fact that the umpire can overrule?
Well, I think that the real problem here is the linesmen are in the best position to see the ball. And if you took that into court, the judge would immediately rule in favor of the linesman. So I think you got to really have the confidence that the linesmen are going to make mistakes, but they make the best shot.
Good point. Edberg holds.
Lou Diamond Phillips, Kiefer Sutherland. When they break the rules, there's no turning back. Renegades, a USA movie special. Thursday, September 19th.
To improve the way you sleep for less money, get free fax by mail about the Craftmatic Model 2 adjustable bed. Look, this is the quality adjustable bed that actually costs 50% less than these quality nationally advertised brand name flatbeds. That's right, for 50% less than these quality flatbeds, you can sleep on a bed that adjusts electrically to all these relaxing positions. Read in bed, watch TV in bed, elevate your feet, support your back, and fall asleep in virtually ideal comfort, and at a price that's 50% less than the cost of these quality flatbeds. 50% less. Get our free catalog about this remarkable adjustable bed by mail.
Hi, I'd like your free catalog.
Call for a free catalog now. There's absolutely no obligation.
Call toll-free 1-800-231-6600. That's 1-800-231-6600. 1-800-231-6600.
Order! She was having an affair.
Divorce court.
Please, Your Honor, you've got to help me.
The judge.
This was a premeditated crime.
Superior Court.
I want justice.
Court is in session on USA.
Back on Stadium Court, the first men's quarterfinal. Well, thus far it has gone to form. Stefan Edberg has been dominant. And he is up a set and a break in the second against Javier Sanchez. To this point in the match, Sanchez has won only 4 points on Edberg's serve. And one of those was the foot fault double fault. Well, Pancho, if you were in Sanchez's shoes here, and you probably never were, but if you were playing in a situation like this, what could he do?
Well, first of all, you have to realize how great Edberg's backhand is. So you stay away from that like a plague. You just don't hit any more shots to his backhand. If you're going to get mistakes from Edberg, you're going to get them off his forehand. And I think sometimes you have to concentrate on these weaknesses from the very beginning of the match, because as the match progresses, that shot can get weaker. But if he continues to hit to Edberg's backhand, Edberg's going to win easily.
Pancho, you've played against some of the best serve and volleyers in the game. Newcomb, Emerson. How does he compare, Edberg, compare to the great serve and volleyers you've played against?
Well, he seems to be more complete. He plays a lot like Roy Emerson played. His serve is a little bit better than Roy, but I think Roy's determination and gutting out matches was a little stronger, maybe. Let's face it, they say that Roy won some 68 national titles in his lifetime. They play very much a strong backhand, great ballers, and great physical. Edberg might be the best of the whole combination that I've ever seen.
Mike Liu in the chair.
Close on that sideline. Yeah, the wind is a factor.
Edberg couldn't believe that ball. And the testimony to how strong the wind is was given by Martina in her discussion with Tracy. She played the preceding match and said it was a major factor on the court.
It's long.
Well, Sanchez got back on that overhead to save his break point and went on to hold.
Ponch, I know you were the best player in the world for 10 years, no question about it. When you look around today and see the kind of prize money that these guys are making, does it bug you at all?
Oh, no, not really. I think that the enjoyment of what you did and being a part of it, you know, and handling it and just living with it all these years is the best part of it. Your life is going to change a lot before it's over. And some of the fellas who are making this big money today are still not very happy, and others are really happy. So it's what they do with the rest of their life that's going to have a factor in it all, and I think it's in a real healthy situation.
Well, that is the truth. If we can ever learn a lesson from sports today, not just tennis, but all professional sports, money does not equal happiness.
It's true.
Ooh. A loose volley.
And the first chance for Javier Sanchez in this match on Edberg's serve. Love 30.
There's a good look at the feet of Edberg. Now you'll see that right foot swing from behind and then come up and stop. He is really close to that baseline.
If Edberg is that close to footballing continually, what would moving an inch back do with it? Is there a reason why he would not do that?
He could move an inch or two back, and most of us probably would, but it still takes a little time to adjust to it because you've been doing it the other way for so many months in preparation. So, but he could easily do it if it really became a factor. But I think it's up to the linesman to walk up and say, you're getting very close to the line again.
Oh. That's just great movement by a tall guy. He's stretched out wide. Good anticipation here by Edberg. Now watch how he moves after he serves. Good twist serve. Now he comes in a couple big steps, moves to his right, anticipates well, and then cuts it off cross court. Came under that ball a little bit.
Edberg trying to come back from love 30 now to game point.
Pancho, in that ad court that we just looked at there, where did you like to serve when you were in trouble? Out wide or down the center?
I'd like to serve just like Edberg did on that one. A high kicker up in the backhand and concentrate moving straight in, covering the down the line of shot. Because the cross-court shots would usually float a little bit with all the spin on it.
Think the guys play a little slower these days than they did when you were playing?
I don't know. They're hitting more shots in the point, so that makes the stamina factor there. And I think it's a tempo that you create. You know, some players like to play faster, some players are very smooth, and some players like to play slow, and other players like to change the tempo every time they get a chance, just to break up the rhythm of a player. So you try to figure it out on the court.
Sanchez's passing shots have not been too good. Edberg serving for 5-2 here in the second set. Edberg serving from the top of your picture. And that is good, and Edberg does hold. Up a set and a break in the second.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
Just a reminder, a meter plain paper fax machine can get you anywhere in just seconds.
Place like home. There's no place like home.
For more information, call 1-800-ABC-METER.
Hi, you been to Australia yet? Everything is big and dramatic here.
For your free copy of the Destination Australia book, call 1-800-678-8177.
The Fuji blimp has been bringing you all of the great aerial shots you've seen today of Flushing Meadows, the National Tennis Center, and the surrounding areas. The Fuji blimp. Nice job, fellas. They get a dinner break now. Cruise shift in the blimp. Well, we have much more tennis for you. Hopefully, Javier Sanchez, I think many people here hope will make this a bit more competitive than tonight. Ivan Lendl and Michael Stich on Stadium Court. Courier-Sampras tomorrow afternoon, and tomorrow night, Jimmy Connors against Paul Harhoos. And they're the #1 seed in men's doubles. John Fitzgerald and Anders Jarrett hooked up with the Aussies. Woodbridge and Woodford a set apiece. 5-4 in the third for Fitzgerald and Jarrett.
Speaking of doubles, Poncho, you played doubles with Jimmy Connors a few years ago.
His first year back east, we played doubles together, and that was a little bit for him to gain some knowledge and experience of playing Forest Hills. And I came back then saying, so some of the players that were playing better get better serves, or they're going to be pushed out of the game very quickly.
Was his return to serve, Connors' return to serve, tough in those days?
It was unreal. Really super return to serve, and it looked like only getting better.
Well, here's a major point for Sanchez now. Double set point for Edberg.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what a great return by Edberg, and he is up 2-0.
Solid return here from the Edberg backhand. He decided right here he was going to go for it, racket back early, and then just sweeps over the ball. He hit that about as flat as I've seen him hit a return.
Pato Alvarez, the coach of the Sanchez family.
Oh, yes.
I think Poncho summed it up very well earlier. When you start off the match right from the beginning, you try to break down your opponent's weaknesses and not play into his strengths. And Sanchez has been playing to the backhand pretty much the last 2 sets. And if you have a chance or any hope to win the match, you would be playing into Edberg's forehand.
Right now, you might see some weaknesses in the forehand that he wouldn't, by playing it, that he wouldn't see. On the other hand, when you hit to the backhand, look at the incredible shot he made on that set point. Half drop volley. It's an unreal shot.
But if you start right from the beginning of the match, then you have a chance of breaking down. Even if he's starting to hit it okay, but if you let him know, hey, I'm really going to play all the time to your weakness, eventually you get a little tight on it, you start to miss a few, then you start thinking about it a lot more. How am I bringing the racket back?
But a faulty shot is usually brought on by a faulty swing. And if you penetrate that shot for 3 hours out on the tennis court, those muscles start to get more tired. And pretty soon they have trouble holding the racket up, and they show even more weaknesses.
And it just continues to appear. Poncho said Javier Sanchez hitting everything to the backhand of Edberg.
A look now as he gets caught on the half volley, but look how quick Edberg recovers. He moves so well to his left. I think he moves better to his left, the backhand side, than he does to the forehand
side. Well, that's what that perfect movement is.
Well, Stefan Edberg is determined to make very quick work of Javier Sanchez in this quarterfinal.
Yeah.
Scientists say the bumblebee cannot fly, and yet it does. It's a paradox. Clouds weigh more than mountains, yet they do not fall. This too is a paradox. And how can a tennis racket that's so light be so powerful? Who cares?
Light in weight, as powerful as the Wilson hammer, yet with extraordinary control. It's a paradox.
Sharp.
What goes into some of the world's most innovative business products?
Sharp thinking.
It's why this high-resolution VGA notebook computer fits in your briefcase.
Sharp thinking.
It created Sharp's most advanced high-speed copying system.
Sharp thinking.
It made the world's first desktop full-color fax a reality, and the Wizard electronic organizer a necessity. The one way to meet new business needs with new technology is...
Sharp thinking about business.
I want to be the best tennis player I can be, and a good person, too. Tennis isn't everything. You still want to look good off the court. And that's why I use oil of Olay.
Works like the fluid in young skin to smooth and soften. Light, greaseless, won't clog pores.
It is a decidedly Jennifer Capriati crowd today.
That's the stuff that makes the difference.
Dermatologist tested, sensitive and original. Oil of Olay. We keep our promise to young skin.
Welcome back, everybody, to Stadium Court on USA's coverage of the 91 U.S. Open. The first men's quarterfinal has gone according to form thus far. Stefan Edberg has been dominant, needing just an hour to win the first two sets from unseeded Javier Sanchez. Earlier today, Steffi Graf and Martina Navratilova advanced to the women's semifinals, joining Jennifer Capriati and Monica Seles.
Boy, there was a good play by Edberg. Saw the opportunity and kind of snuck in behind it. Poncho reminds me of the other Poncho we used to call Sneaky. He made that play pretty well, didn't he?
Well, Sneaky would set you up from the very beginning because he'd have you hitting the first volley from your shoestrings, and you wouldn't be able to hit him that hard. But he's getting in and hitting an eye volley level here, and he's making a real aggressive shot. And he's really moving very well.
The winner of this match will meet the winner of Lendl and Stick in the semifinals. That will be Saturday. And now a break point again for Edberg. Sanchez doing a lot of looking over to his coach and in that box, but not much they're going to do over there.
There you saw those quick little steps that Edberg takes before he returns serve. He's ready, and then just before he gets ready, you watch him right there to get started. Did you do much moving around on the return of serve, Ponch?
I always believed in that. I think I believed in it more when I was helping coach the Davis Cup team. I thought it was distracting, yes.
Last night, Jennifer Capriati was moving way in, taking that serve maybe halfway between the service line. And it worked.
Do you think that not just the moving and dancing, but the squeaking of the sneakers, is that a sportsmanlike thing in the game?
I don't think you do that. Everything else is legal. If you squeak the sneaker, that it just happens.
You know, to be honest with you, we hear it more up here on television than they do out on the court, I think, because of all the mics.
Well, Sanchez looks defeated now. He has had nothing so far, and Edberg is up a break in the third. Well, tonight at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, Michael Stich, the Wimbledon champ, meets Ivan Lendl in the second men's quarterfinal. Then tomorrow daytime, Jim Courier and defending champ Pete Sampras, good friends, will battle for a berth in the semis. And tomorrow night, USA's coverage of singles action concludes with Jimmy Connors' bid to make it to the semis as he'll meet Dutchman Paul Harhoos. That'll be 7:30 Eastern tomorrow night. Second ace for Edberg. Community love. And now let's see if Michael Barkan has any more luck with Mayor Dinkins. Michael?
Well, he's off the phone. You know that these city politics, they got to take precedence over little old me. And Mr. Mayor, I want to know what you think of the match so far.
Well, it's a great match. It's clear that Edberg is in complete control, and it looks like a straight set match.
You know, you're sitting behind Mr. Sanchez's brother. Javier's brother.
Well, I mean, he's a fine player, but he's outgunned today, that's for sure.
I want to know, you've been out here every day, a prediction on who you think will win. It's far from wide open now. We're down to the quarters and going into the semis. Who do you think is going to win the men's and women's?
Jimmy Connors.
That was the right answer. We will go back upstairs.
Oh. Well, Stefan Edberg may have something to say about that, the way he's playing. Up a break in the third.
Performance, endurance, elegance. What more can anyone ask of a luxury car?
Quite a bit, actually.
In financial matters, as in life, everybody's different. Different needs, different goals. The Principal Financial Group understands. Our financial services are as unique and individual as you are. Personalized solutions that offer each customer an advantage. That's the Principal Edge. It's made us one of America's largest. So for diversified products that fit your financial needs to the letter, look for the Principal Edge.
When sports cream, when arms are sore, when legs ache, when muscles hurt. Why sports cream? Massaging sports cream in brings fast pain relief. No medicine-y smell, no odor. Why sports cream? Because it works.
Athlete's Foot. Every year, over 28 million Americans get it. Try NP27. Its doctor-recommended ingredient stops burning and itching fast. NP27. Nothing's a better cure for athlete's foot.
Stefan Edberg has not had a lot of luck here the last couple of years. Well, he has to be thinking he's getting some payback now after a very convincing victory over Michael Chang in the fourth round. Edberg is barely breaking a sweat with Javier Sanchez.
It's about as much as you'll hear Stefan say, too, during a match. He really is quite a sportsman out there. Oh, yeah. Oof. Pancho, you won this tournament in 1948-49, and then, of course, in those days, when you turned professional, you weren't allowed to play here anymore. Any thoughts on how well you could have done if you'd stayed amateur?
We always think about that. We kind of figure that a lot of the guys that won the title were made to look more important because of us being out. There was Jack Kramer, too, who couldn't play, and so it weakened the game a little bit. But I think it was a good system because it allowed the public to get to know a lot more players.
Sanchez trying to get on the board in the third set, serving at 40-15.
Oh, yes.
Sanchez keeps hammering away at that backhand and keeps getting passed by that backhand.
Well, Edberg returns that ball down low at the knees, and there's no way that Sanchez can get any pace on it, so he's...
Oh, yeah.
He's like a sitting duck there. And on the other hand, you see Edberg move into the net, and he drives right through that volley.
Pancho, this backhand volley by Edberg may be one of the best in the game today, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. He gets set for it, and then he lets the force of his body drive him right through the shot.
And Pancho, Edberg, I think, thinks a little bit the way you would think at this part of the third set. You never sat on a lead. If you just became like so aggressive, kept coming in, finish it off as soon as possible.
But you know, I think you have to look at it from another angle too. It's a great feeling all of a sudden to play as well as Edberg's playing right now. There's a little bit of danger from playing this well too, and that is the only way left is down.
Now, if Edberg closes this out, of course, he will play only one match in 5+ days. He played Sunday against Chang today and then won't play his semi until Saturday. Break point, this would be 4-love in the third for Edberg. The story is not the percentage. The story is Sanchez hasn't had one in the match. But he saves that break with his third ace.
Oh, yeah. Watch this down the line backhand now from Stefan Edberg. Backs up quickly, gets the racket back, and then really stays with this shot. Watch it right up the line. High follow through. Tony Pickard there, Stefan's coach.
And there's the game, so Edberg now leads 4-love in the third.
Pancho, don't you think the early rounds of the Open today are maybe a bit tougher?
Oh, they're much tougher, yes. As a matter of fact, qualifying is really tough. I've watched some of those qualifying players out there, and I can't believe how hard and how well they're hitting the ball.
We used to see those guys come out with the Bermuda shorts and no socks in the first round and say, this is going to be a lot of fun, this one.
I went out to watch some of the juniors yesterday. They look pretty good to me.
It's unreal.
Now the depth of the game is just tremendous now.
Second double fault by Edberg. He's had it so easy, his concentration may be the last hurdle for him to clear here. There will be no help from there either. Been a pretty rough last 3 hours for these Sanchez's.
Yeah.
Pancho, how tough is it? It's a Grand Slam quarterfinal. Is it difficult now for Edberg to keep his concentration, to close it out?
I don't think so. I think that he's a smart enough player to know that maybe at 5-love he can relax a little bit, but at 4-love you don't want to relax. You're really just as strong as you ever were in concentration. But he's a really well prepared mentally and thought-wise in the game at this level. Plus, he's playing really superb tennis.
Pancho, weren't you down 2-0 to Ted Schroeder the year you won that in '49? Didn't you come back?
Yes. Yeah, we played on grass, and I was a little down simply because in the second set it was getting late and a little damp. I couldn't move, and they let Schroeder have spikes.
Really?
And I didn't have spikes, so I had to play in tennis shoes. And in the end, the spikes took a little bit out of his legs, and I was able to take it over.
And you tell people that today, Ted, that we played in spikes on the grass at Forest Hills. They said, "What are you talking about?" But it's true. Yeah, when the courts got wet, you could ask to wear spikes.
It was a tennis shoe with a spike about the same length as your golf spike, so that you could run. And when the grass got damp, you could get permission to use them, and otherwise you'd be sliding all over the place.
Edberg at deuce. Oh, Sanchez. A very nice topspin lob. That gets his first break point of the match.
Good topspin lob. Gets underneath the ball, comes over the top.
Javier Sanchez, when it appeared lost, breaks for the first time in the match.
Champions collide. Wimbledon champion Michael Stich takes on three-time U.S. Open champion Yvonne Lendl. The U.S. Open on USA. Tonight at 7:30, live.
How can you stop a throbbing toothache? Massage your hand with ice. How do you cure poison ivy? Try oatmeal. How do I know these cures really work? Because my staff and I interviewed over 500 top U.S. doctors for this incredible book, The Doctor's Book of Home Remedies from the editors of Prevention Magazine Health Books. I'm Bill Gottlieb, editor-in-chief, and I can assure you there has never been a more complete encyclopedia of home healing techniques. Over 670 pages, 2,300 remedies. From controlling diabetes to ending diaper rash, it's all right in here.
Call now for the Doctor's Book of Home Remedies. Try it absolutely free for 21 days. Then if you choose to keep it, pay in 3 easy installments of only $8.98. Plus, you'll get this Meals That Heal cookbook free.
Remember, you can try the Doctor's Book of Home Remedies free for 21 days. So call now.
Call 1-800-558-7100.
In the dark of the night, she goes looking for love.
I used to fantasize about you.
But beware, this beauty is a beast. Nastasia Kinski.
Something's happening to me.
Malcolm McDowell. Cat People. On USA Saturday Nightmares. Saturday at 8, 7 Central.
This is the third time in the last 4 years and the 6th time in the Open era that we've had at least three unseeded quarterfinalists in the men's draw. Pretty good balance. I don't see that Garolitis name in there anywhere. You were always seated, huh, Vitas?
Or I stayed at home.
Well, Javier Sanchez breaking for the first time in the match, and Edberg almost broke his racket in response. Going to his chair during the changeover, slammed it down. For Edberg, that's like the eruption of a volcano.
Oh. He unloaded on that one.
Another look here at the backhand. He gets a short ball, figures he's going to go for it, and he goes for it. Jeez. A lot of weight. Pancho, did your ground strokes change through your career? I always felt that your forehand maybe was a little tougher, but what do you think?
Well, I think that one of the biggest changes we have in tennis now is the rackets are lighter. And I think the tall guy has to handle a lighter racket. The shorter guy can handle a heavier racket. And I was always lightening my rackets, trying to get them to handle better, and I would have loved to have played with today's equipment.
You used to drill holes in the shaft of your racket in the aluminum rackets. I remember that. You have holes all over your racket. I always wanted a racket just like Poncho's, but he's got all these holes in it. What are they doing?
See the net play here.
Little half volley, and then Sanchez throws up the lob, but way too short. Edberg knocks it off.
Poncho, you were also one of the first ones to start experimenting with the different materials in rackets. Remember, you were one of the first to use the aluminum rackets?
Well, the idea always was to get it as light as possible, because the aluminum, you could drill holes in it and get it lighter. It did work out for a while, but I only had one racket, and if it broke, I was in real trouble. I think, for example, Bjorn Borg, if he played, he used one of the modern-day lighter rackets. He could come back very strong if he wants to still.
Why does a tall player need a lighter racket, Poncho?
Well, his arm is longer, and he doesn't move it quite as quickly as a smaller player. And the smaller player doesn't have the leverage, so he can use the weight, but he has a stronger arm.
Well, Sanchez saved a break point and holds for 2-4 here in the third set. It's been pretty overcast all day, and there is a chance, and a growing chance as the day goes along, of some rain.
Poncho, talk to us a little bit about that old canvas court we used to play on, because I don't think too many people realize how tough it was to play. We rolled that thing out, played at gymnasiums, 84 matches in 4.5 months.
Well, it was interesting. As you remembered, Barry, you and I played a couple of times. You couldn't get into the net unless the ball fell short. And it really made for interesting play, because that's the only way we could play from the baseline. But it was a fun experience, especially if it was laid out on the ice, which was the ice rink of an auditorium. If you run off the court and your feet hit that ice, boy, you were twinkle toes very quickly.
I remember that, too.
You know, our younger generations deserve to see some film of McKay playing on ice.
No, they don't.
I agree.
No, they don't.
Then we really would appreciate what we're seeing now.
It really wasn't so funny. You know, one time we had a 100-yard dash run with about 4 or 5 players, and Barry was number 1. But like he said earlier, he found it hard changing directions.
Oh, yes. Edberg now. Watch the Edberg volley here up the line. Now watch him. He changes direction. Speaking of changing directions, and he can really cut that ball off.
Javier hustling into the net, just couldn't quite get to it. Good angle by Edberg.
Edberg playing with some resolve here. A little angry. He's lost the last 2 games. An hour and 28. There have been sets in this Open that have taken that long. And Edberg's 6 points from finishing the match.
Yep.
Sanchez starting to really nail that backhand now.
We're protected in case it rains. In the corner of the National Tennis Center. Crowd for this match thinning out a bit from a nearly full house for the women's quarters.
Best point of the match, no question about it. Now Edberg catches Sanchez, and then he tries a Yannick Noah special between the legs, but it didn't work. That was tremendous point. Both players all over the place.
Oh, Edberg serving now for 5-2. Sanchez upset. The passing shot called out. And Edberg is a game away. Javier Sanchez still not happy with the line call that ended the last game.
This is a look at that last point. Sanchez goes cross court with the back end. He thought it was good. Another replay. Awfully tough to tell.
That looked awfully good.
Yeah, it did.
That shot looked awfully good.
But you know, we've really only had one replay in this whole 10 days that was clearly out.
And that was a ball that was, if I remember, the ball was called good.
Yeah, that's right. Well, if they ever go to the National Football League where they wait for the decision of the replay, we're all in big trouble.
Look at Poncho over here. He's
right, Ponch?
He's going to walk out if that happens.
Yeah, Poncho will keep him honest.
Poncho, can't you remember days when we walk out to play a match and all the lines weren't covered and you kind of look up in the stand and say, hey, come on down, call a line for us. Give us a hand down here.
We'd pick the public right out of the stands. Come on, help us. And
that's right.
Yeah, they did the first year or two, and they wouldn't even show up after that.
That's true.
How would you like to see John McEnroe playing with linesmen like that?
Oh, he thought he had an ace.
Edberg made the right choice at the last second.
To me, that's the shot he's really improved, the slice backhand approach shot. Stays low.
Stays low. He's got underspin, so it carries it deep. You don't know how to take it, and that's why we call a guy like Javier sneaky, because he could see that shot coming. He immediately move in, take it on the fly. But most of the players will let it drop, and then they're in trouble.
And Edberg wailing away now has a match point.
Oh, yeah.
Even Edberg smiled in the direction of Sanchez after that shot. What a great get. Try to put that smash away. Sanchez tracks it down, screams it down the line for a forehand winner. And he was way back by the fence there, Pancho.
Sanchez is moving much better right now than he did earlier in the match. I think this is typical of a clay court player who plays into the match as it goes along, but sometimes he starts too slowly, and against Edberg he started even slower.
What a point that was, considering that was a match point save by Sanchez, and he comes back to hold. Oh, what a great point for Javier Sanchez. But Edberg has a chance now to serve for the match.
Well, he doesn't look like he thinks he's out of the match at this point.
Well, he probably would have lost about 5 pounds at this stage, and he's going to move quicker that way, too.
Stefan holds up. New balls are changing at 7 and 9, and then every 9 thereafter.
Barry loves getting those new tennis balls. Start off serving with the new ones.
Ooh. Didn't you used to like to serve with new balls?
Oh, yeah, that wide slice ball into the forehand really took a...
See that grin come over his face?
You two big servers, you. You big hitters, you.
Eat your heart out, baby.
I'm jealous.
Well, you figure with brand new tennis balls, if you play your cards right, you can serve with a brand new ball each time in this game.
Yes, you could. You know, when we had a speed test on it, you hit a ball the first time, it'd go 110 or 112 miles an hour. On the second hit, it would lose 2 miles per hour. And each hit progressively would lose about 2 miles per hour in speed on the same ball.
Sanchez.
Edberg serving for the match. Sanchez playing some of his best tennis here in what may be the closing moments for him. Fourth double fault for Edberg. Not a good time serving for the match. Now it is 30 all.
Sometimes trying to close a match out like this can put you at your most nervous state.
From a 4-love to this point, Sanchez has had the better of it.
Yes.
Edberg better hope he can finish it in this game. And another factor is that you look up, it's getting darker fast. It's getting windier fast, and I think you can sense there's some rain near.
I'm surprised they haven't at least turned the lights on, because it is starting to darken down.
Match point for Stefan Edberg. There it is. Edberg puts it away. And for the third time, Stefan Edberg is a semifinalist at the U.S. Open, the first time since 1987. He needed just 1 hour and 41 minutes to defeat Javier Sanchez in straight sets.
Another look here at match point as Stefan Edberg, with that nice, easy motion out in front. Couple of big strides. And then the backhand volley, well hit, nice firm wrist, and he knew he had it right there.
Well, Stefan Edberg continues to exercise some demons from past years here. He's into the semifinals. We'll continue on USA in a moment.
You must travel back in time 1 billion years to witness its birth. You will search in vain for a more enduring or brilliant creation. You can comb the world and never find one the same. It is rare. It is precious. It is love. And its only promise is forever.
Pain from just one sensitive tooth can start the domino effect, a chain reaction that can end in tooth loss. The pain can make you stop brushing, lead to plaque buildup, gingivitis, periodontal disease, even tooth loss. Sensodyne toothpaste helps stop the pain and the domino effect. Dentists recommend Sensodyne most for sensitive teeth. And Sensodyne is also available in a pump. Help stop the pain and the domino effect with Sensodyne.
One day, a few thousand birds decide they don't like people. Really don't like people. The people try to fight back. But eventually, the birds win.
The difference between watching a movie on an ordinary television and watching it on a Mitsubishi home theater system is the difference between hearing about it and being there.
Strike. Counter-Strike. An all-new season on USA, beginning Saturday, September 21st.
The way to not win in tennis is to think too much about your opponent. Because in tennis, you don't just play the opponent. You've got to play the ball. It's how you play the ball that determines whether your shot is in or out. Whether the point is won or lost. Play the ball better than your opponent, and you'll play winning tennis. Now, you can play the ball and win with this double offer from Tennis Magazine. You'll receive a free half-hour video by Tennis Magazine instruction editor Vic Braden, plus a full year, 12 issues of Tennis Magazine. Call this number now and change the way you play tennis. What a combination. The How to Play Winning Tennis with Vic Braden video, plus the magazine that brings more instruction to more tennis players than any other.
Call 800-854-4000 for a full year of Tennis Magazine, plus this free video, just $13.77. Call 800-854-4000 now.
It's his one chance to have that one girl for one big night.
Tonight, I spend it with you.
Dudley Moore, Bo Derek,
10 on USA.
Saturday, September 21st at 8.
Well, the clouds have rolled in here at the USTA National Tennis Center, but it didn't stop Stefan Edberg, who easily rolled over Javier Sanchez 6-3, 6-2, 6-3. So Edberg is into the semifinals. That completes the quarterfinal singles action for today. We'll have all the scores for you shortly. Don't forget tonight, we've got another quarterfinal action match on the men's side. Michael Stich against Ivan Lendl, the number 3 seed and the number 5 seed. That's tonight at 7:30 on USA. Right now over on the grandstand court, we have men's doubles play. John Fitzgerald, Anders Jarrett against Todd Woodbridge and Mark Woodford. Let's check in with Bill McAtee and Leif Shiras.
Thank you very much, Bruce. This just a few moments ago. 5-2 in the fourth set. Fitzgerald and Jarrett up 2-1. John Fitzgerald and Anders Jarrett, the number 1 doubles team in the world. Seeded number 1 here, Todd Woodbridge and Mark Woodford. Seeded 6th, and John Fitzgerald serving for the match. 15 love.
Mark Woodford returning in the backhand corner. One-time U.S. Open champion with John McEnroe. And that's what has made this team so sharp today, has been their reflexes and their volleying at the net. They've really dominated in the front court, and you can see John Fitzgerald volleying behind Todd Woodbridge. There's Mark Woodford.
30 love. That's long. Fitzgerald and Jarrett dropping only the second set in the tiebreak. And now they have triple match point. That's it. John Fitzgerald and Anders Jarrett are now in the final. And they will play either Flack and Seguso or Davis and Pate. And we'll be back to Tennis Center in a moment.